Welcome back to our channel, the place where hidden chapters, royal secrets, and the stories the palace won't publish finally come to light. Today we bring you a breaking news, biggest PR disaster ever, Meghan torched after latest interview. At a time when the British royal family is undergoing a period of significant transformation and more scrutiny by the general public, it appears that the family is in the process of reassessing the responsibilities assigned to each of its members, as well as the degree to which individual royals are visible in matters of public concern. Discussions have been initiated regarding the possibility that in the future non-working royals might assume more substantial ambassadorial positions. This is taking place as the Prince of Wales and King Charles III consider what the monarchy's future structure would look like. The narrative surrounding the Duke and Duchess of Sussex is continuously changing as their relationship with the institution from which they left in 2020 is being examined through their appearances in the media and their ongoing commentary. These concurrent developments have been consolidated through recent commentary. Advocates are advocating for the promotion of figures such as Zara Tindall as representations of a stable contemporary royal presence. Analysts are examining the public relations repercussions of an article in Harper's Bazaar about Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, and royal authors and commentators have provided new insights into the complex family dynamics that have emerged in the aftermath of the king's diagnosis with cancer. These narratives coming together highlights the importance of the institution's adaptation to the practical demands of the 21st century, as well as the lasting influence that the histories of individuals have on how the general public perceives them. Before one can understand why Zara Tindall is included in these conversations, it is necessary to first acknowledge the conceptual framework that has been the basis for the monarchy's recent reformation. The notion of a streamlined monarchy has been a key principle of King Charles III's strategy for many years now. The desire to centralize official duties among a smaller group of senior working royals is at the heart of this concept, which is intended to allow the institution to operate with greater clarity of purpose, financial prudence, and focus. The term working royal is typically used to refer to a member of the royal family who carries out regular official activities on behalf of the monarchy, maintains a portfolio of patronages, represents the monarch at events open to the public, as well as international visits, and is provided with special measures for protection and assistance. The primary goal of this approach is to conserve the resources of the public, while also projecting an image of a monarchy that is more modern and responsible. As a result of the unexpected events and the shifting dynamics of family relationships that have occurred, the principle has been continually assessed. This has led to the conclusion that there is a need to reassess the possibility of flexibility within the system. The recent challenges on the diminished cohort of working royals have originated from multiple sources simultaneously. The King and the Princess of Wales have both reduced their public engagements while receiving medical treatment, and certain prominent family members, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex and the Duke of York, no longer undertake official royal responsibilities. The outcome has led to heightened demand on the surviving active royals to maintain the institution's public visibility and meet its obligations domestically and internationally. Observers have proposed that the palace could benefit from a more flexible strategy that utilizes the skills and popularity of extended family members, who, although not officially employed as senior working royals, have the experience, demeanor, and public favor to serve as effective representatives in particular situations. Zara Tindall, offspring of Anne Princess Royal, plays a significant role in this discussion. Mrs. Tindall lacks a royal title and is frequently referred to as a non-working royal, yet she has consistently held a recognized position within the extended royal family and maintains a public demeanor that merges professional success with personal privacy. Proponents of her increased involvement highlight many interconnected attributes that collectively render her a compelling candidate for selective targeted ambassadorial responsibilities on behalf of the crown. A primary and often referenced characteristic is relatability. Zara, though undeniably a part of the royal family by blood, has been raised and publicly displayed in a manner distinct from many of her cousins. Her mother, Princess Anne, opted against bestowing royal titles upon her children, Zara and her brother Peter Phillips, at the time of their births. This deviation from tradition was intentional. It aimed to grant them the autonomy to pursue their own careers and lead lives not exclusively dictated by institutional responsibilities. The choice established a separation between Zara's personal identity and the formalities of monarchy, enabling her to be viewed as both a personality who comprehends the institution, and as someone possessing a semblance of regular life experience. This equilibrium might be significant in a modern media landscape, as audiences frequently react positively to those who seem relatable and accessible. Her professional biography reinforces this notion of relatability through tangible accomplishments. Zara Tindall is a distinguished equestrian recognized for winning the Eventing World Championship in 2006, an accomplishment that earned her the title of BBC Sports Personality of the Year, as voted by the British public. Her career apex in the Olympic sphere occurred at London 2012, where she attained a silver medal as part of the Great Britain eventing team. The awarding of that medal by her mother, Princess Anne, an Olympian in her own right, stands as a symbolic moment that underscores both familial continuity and professional achievement. These milestones are not only ceremonial, they signify a steadfast commitment to training, competition, and collaboration in a demanding sport. This background imparts qualities, discipline, endurance, and public poise that are easily applicable to diplomatic and ambassadorial positions. In addition to her athletic endeavors, Mrs. Tindall has developed a prosperous commercial and public persona. She has established enduring ties as a brand ambassador with esteemed firms such as Land Rover, Rolex, and Musto, thereby showcasing her capacity to collaborate effectively with commercial partners while upholding personal integrity. She has a significant and lasting connection through her patronage and affiliation with the Magic Millions horse racing event on Australia's Gold Coast, where she endorses projects like Racing Women. Observers who have witnessed her in that context highlight her ability to engage with varied audiences, convey professional friendliness, and execute ambassadorial duties with ease. According to a critic who witnessed her at the Gold Coast, she is very impressive in person, and her ability to engage with the crowd and her inherent ambassadorial duty as a royal were highlighted as strengths. Such collaborations exemplify the duality that enhances her allure, the capacity to embody British interests and cultural symbols on a global scale, while maintaining a grounded demeanor in personal interactions. Zara's appropriateness for increased prominence is further underscored by her evident absence from public disputes. The Tindalls are consistently depicted by the media as a family that infuses lightness and warmth into private events, with the immediate royals contrasting with times where other branches of the family attract media attention. In a time when political, social, and media environments may escalate errors and personal conflicts into enduring public controversies, the significance of a habitually composed, low-drama individual should not be overlooked. Mrs. Tindall's esteemed reputation for prudence and poise renders her a reliable ally of the Prince of Wales and somebody capable of supporting the Waleses without being embroiled in disputes that detract from the institution's objectives. The plans currently under consideration are not typically characterized as an effort to transform Mrs. Tindall into a full-time working royal in the conventional institutional context. This would involve a permanent set of responsibilities, ongoing taxpayer-funded security provisions, and the anticipation of an augmented official schedule of activities. The model envisioned by many critics is more selective and adaptable. She may be summoned to serve as an official ambassador in specific situations, particularly abroad, leveraging the international acclaim she currently possesses. This may involve representing the Crown at cultural events, advocating for certain humanitarian initiatives, or participating in prominent international conferences when her athletic and commercial qualifications are advantageous. This approach would enable the institution to leverage her attraction and skill without requiring a total overhaul of her personal and professional life. Within this framework, there is speculation that the Princess Royal, noted for her tireless dedication to public service, may be contemplating a gradual reallocation of elements of her extensive portfolio of patronages. At 73, the Princess Royal persists in executing an extraordinary volume of engagements each year and is one of the most industrious royals regarding public appearances and philanthropic duties. A deliberate delegation of certain responsibilities to a reliable family member, especially one who has proven both competence and public support, would guarantee continuity in institutional affiliations while enabling the princess to alleviate her workload at her discretion. Observers acquainted with court life propose that Princess Anne may prefer a subtle transition that preserves the dignity of the roles she endorses, As one commentator remarked regarding Zara's prospects, I believe she would like to perhaps integrate Zara into some of that involvement, and Zara is ideally suited for it. The possible elevation of an individual like Zara Tindall offers tangible benefits for an institution aiming to maintain relevance and resilience. She represents a confluence of professional integrity, global acclaim, and a personal style deemed accessible by many attributes that could assist the monarchy in conveying an image of stability, continuity, and modernity. In a public debate where relevance, cost, and symbolism often intersect, the proposal to utilize the strengths of extended family members beyond the official senior royal roster presents a solution that is both traditional in its adherence to customs and innovative in its openness to new forms of representation. In contrast, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, has maintained a public profile that incites vigorous discourse over branding authenticity and the ramifications of a prominent media strategy. A significant flashpoint in this ongoing discourse was a prominently featured article in Harper's Bazaar, which some analysts saw an unexpectedly detrimental public relations incident for the Duchess. The article, allegedly included in the magazine's December 2025, January 2026 art edition, aimed to showcase her charity efforts and to present elements of her commercial initiative, American Riviera Orchard. The aforementioned enterprise, characterized in the profile as a lifestyle brand offering products like preserves and home goods, constitutes a segment of the couple's post-royal entrepreneurial endeavors and their overarching efforts to construct a public narrative beyond royal existence. What garnered attention and incited criticism was not the stated objectives of these entrepreneurship and advocacy initiatives, but rather a specific behind-the-scenes aspect highlighted in the feature: the adherence to formal announcement protocol, even in ostensibly informal or minor meetings. The commentary regarding the magazine article indicated that it recounted instances where an aide formally declared the Duchess's presence, specifically articulated in the coverage as Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, is here. The initial instance occurred in a brownstone in New York, where an aide announced her arrival. A subsequent scene featured a scheduled address to adolescent females regarding science, technology, engineering, and mathematics STEM in Los Angeles, during which an assistant allegedly advanced as the Duchess arrived, accompanied by the distinctive auditory detail of a golf cart's wheels on gravel, to make the identical formal announcement: Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, is here. The revealed information elicited significant reactions, since they seemed incongruent with the image the Duchess and her husband have regularly projected since relinquishing their frontline royal responsibilities. The self-presentation has highlighted a desire to lead a more conventional, independent life, free from the constraints and formality of palace protocol. Consequently, critics contended that adhering to the formalities of royal announcements in circumstances framed as personal or commercial indicated a dissonance between the Sussex brand's professed principles and its actual implementation. Critics perceive the practice as an indication of a desire to maintain the status and privileges of royalty while concurrently eschewing the public duties and responsibilities traditionally associated with that status. A critic articulated the critique concisely: "It reflects the contradiction in Meghan's brand." He stated, "She presents herself as the anti-royal rebel. Although she is averse to performing royal duties, she desires the title and aims to be regarded as a member of the royal family. She seeks the privileges without the associated responsibilities." This observation highlights a persistent theme in public discourse regarding the couple: the challenge of harmonizing the enduring symbols of royal privilege titles, formal modes of address, and established protocols with a stated dedication to functioning as independent entities beyond the institution. Proponents of the Duchess contend that these interpretations exaggerate the importance of singular reporting decisions and that the overarching objectives of her humanitarian and business endeavors merit evaluation independently. It has been noted that the interaction between formal address and casual settings is not novel, and that variations in staff conduct, logistical requirements, and security protocols might explain seemingly contradictory instances. Regardless of the episode's intent as a public declaration, the overall impression for numerous readers and commentators was one of tonal dissonance, a polished lifestyle feature that, by highlighting specific details, unintentionally underscored perceived inconsistencies in the subject's public image. The Harper's Bazaar episode demonstrates the significant challenges the Sussexes encounter in managing their post-royal existence. Each initiative, picture selection, and media engagement is examined via a dual perspective. The duo cannot evade the legacy of their previous positions as senior royals, nor can they entirely dictate the interpretation of their business aspirations and personal stories within that context. As a result, the distinction between genuine self-presentation and performative status assertion often attracts critical scrutiny, and errors, whether actual or perceived, are typically magnified in public discourse. The outcome is a continual public relations dilemma, wherein even altruistic portrayals may be reinterpreted as unintentional sarcasm or as proof of a discord between rhetoric and action. Underlying these public arguments are deeply intimate dynamics among families that continue to influence institutional actions and public perceptions. The connection between King Charles III and his younger son Prince Harry is one of the most scrutinized elements of these relationships. Recent reports and analyses based on content from Robert Jobson's book, The Windsor Legacy, have provided additional insight into a brief, intense meeting between father and son that occurred in February 2024, just after the public disclosure of the king's cancer diagnosis. As per the frequently referenced report, Prince Harry traveled from his residence in California to London on short notice to be with his father. The encounter at Clarence House was apparently their first in-person interaction in some months and lasted roughly 30 to 45 minutes. Official comments at the time claimed that the short duration of the reunion was attributed to the king's obligation to undergo a scheduled medical treatment. Jobson's reporting indicates that the medical appointment may not fully account for the situation, suggesting that the palace utilized the procedural timetable to restrict the length of the meeting. He states, he did not require a procedure, and as noted in discussion on his book, Jobson remarks that the king had to take a helicopter to Sandringham, which necessitated a reduction in the meeting. Understanding Jobson's assertion necessitates recognizing the interplay of personal, medical, and institutional factors that influence the palace's decision-making during that critical period. At the commencement of cancer therapy, patients frequently encounter significant weariness and are recommended to evade stresses that may hinder recuperation. An extended, emotionally intense meeting with a family member with whom relations have been publicly strained may be evaluated by physicians and advisors as a potential risk to the patient's wellness. Numerous royal critics have characterized the palace's actions not as intentional aloofness, but as a measure of prudent safeguarding both of the monarch's well-being and the institution's stability. One commentator remarked on Harry's unannounced return, stating, "When Harry swiftly traveled back to London, upon learning of his father's cancer diagnosis, he essentially invited himself. It was not prearranged, nor was he summoned," and concluded that this reunion occurred at a time when Charles was just beginning treatment. He felt fatigued. The influence of recent history must also be considered. The release of Prince Harry's book Spare, along with the couple's Netflix documentary series Harry and Meghan, revealed numerous private revelations and critical evaluations of royal life to the public. The initiatives featuring personal anecdotes and accusations on the family and its operations heightened the awareness of senior royals and their staff about the potential for private discussions to be repurposed or publicly revealed. Such situations heighten the household's vulnerability to vulnerable moments. Counselors believe that any extended private conversation poses the possibility of generating content that could end up in Spare 2.0, a phrase utilized by multiple analysts. The potential for a frank, emotional meeting to produce fresh insights provided further motivation to organize the encounter with constraints on both time and conditions. Commentators have noted that the palace's stance may have been driven more by a desire to prevent further harm to either party than by punitive intent. Offering an external justification, such as an impending helicopter departure to Sandringham, might be viewed as a diplomatic approach to conclude the discussion, so shielding Harry from the personal indignity of being interrupted for reasons that could be interpreted as directly personal. An analyst saw this as an effort to spare Harry's feelings, contending that a practical rationale could be less painful than a direct rejection of the visit extension. Despite the initial conciseness of their reunion, indications suggest that the relationship between father and son has not been entirely stagnant. Reports suggest that later in the year, notably in September, the King and Prince Harry engaged in an extended talk lasting around 1 hour. Observers indicated that this additional contact may have alleviated tensions and reinstated communication channels, presenting a provisional avenue for reconciliation. The gradual measures do not suggest a swift resolution of the fundamental disputes behind the family's alienation. However, they indicate a mutual willingness to participate, albeit tentatively, in reconciliation. Collectively, these discussions regarding the increasing functional roles of non-working family members, the public relations difficulties encountered by the Sussexes, and the tenuous personal reconciliation between the monarch and his son elucidate the intricate array of decisions facing the House of Windsor. The institution must pragmatically address operational realities, the limited capacity of a small group of working royals to manage an increasing number of public commitments, the potential necessity for competent, esteemed individuals to engage internationally and maintain charitable connections, and the practical implications related to the health conditions of senior members. Conversely, the monarchy must address profound human factors, eroded trust, the emotional repercussions of public revelations, and the sensitivity around personal disease within a family whose private affairs are regularly exposed to public scrutiny. The suggestions to assign competent relatives to ambassadorial roles illustrate a potential method for the monarchy's adaptation. If executed meticulously, such an approach might bolster institutional priorities while maintaining the personal autonomy of those who are not full-time public servants. A gradual transfer of specific patronages from elder to younger family members may guarantee the sustained productivity of established charity partnerships and the uninterrupted execution of the Crown's representational duties. The Sussex incident illustrates how public messaging can readily subvert deliberate institutional reforms. A solitary instance viewed as incongruent with stated values can trigger a wider narrative of inconsistency and entitlement, complicating the maintenance of a cohesive public image. The family's strategy for sensitive reunions, how it reconciles cautious caution around ailing royalty with the genuine human need for reconciliation, will impact both personal recovery and public trust. Institutional caution during such periods can be seen in several manners as an essential protection for the sovereign's well-being and the continuation of state activities, or as an emotionally detached strategy that exacerbates alienation. The reality is probably a combination of motives and limitations. The palace must balance medical wisdom with the reputational risks associated with the public disclosure of private familial contacts. The strategic decisions that the House of Windsor takes in the immediate future will have an impact on the identity of the monarchy and the way that the public perceives it for many years to come. The prospective ascension of individuals such as Zara Tindall, who is a successful professional, a working mother, and a quietly supportive family member, exemplifies a possible path to regeneration. It is a method of communicating continuity, expertise, and relatable humanity without expanding the inner circle of formal taxpayer-supported obligations. On the other hand, the way in which the Sussexes have handled their business endeavors, their charitable objectives, and their engagement with the media brings to light the potential dangers that come with remaining associated with the monarchy while also pursuing a self-sufficient, profit-oriented way of life. The monarchy must ultimately find a way to reconcile its long-standing traditions and ceremonial obligations with the practical demands of a modern constitutional organization that operates within a highly visible media landscape. The evolving role of extended family members, the ongoing public relations challenges that are faced by prominent former members of the royal family, and the slow, deliberate efforts to reconcile family members all point to an institution that is both resilient and vulnerable. This institution is resilient because of its institutional depth, which allows for adaptive strategies to be implemented, but it is also vulnerable because personal narratives and public perceptions are powerful influences that have the potential to either accelerate or hinder reform efforts. The choices that the family and their advisors make in the coming years, such as how the crown is represented abroad, how private family matters are handled in the public sphere, and how patronages are redistributed, will most likely have an effect on the perception of the House of Windsor, both in the United Kingdom and on a global scale. Additionally, these decisions will determine the character of the monarchy for the next generation. Thank you for watching the video. Please let us know your thoughts and goodbye for the time being.